live show on Saturday. Do a spiritual journey. This is really going to be a great and exciting weekend. Go over to coasttocoastam.com right now. All that info is right up there.
But for those of you on the West Coast living up there in the Oregon area, we have something for you.
You know what? It doesn't stop. On Saturday, May 27th, we're going to be at the amazing Granada Theater in the Dalles, Oregon. I was just talking to Sally and Joe, a couple friends of ours we met up in Everett, Georgia, and they're excited. They're going to this show. It's 84 miles east of Portland. Our guests, Dr. Sky, Stephen Cates, UFO abductee Travis Walton, and from Animal Planet Bigfoot hunter Matt Moneymaker. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Again, all that info right up at the coasttocoastam.com website.
You know if Bob Crane's coming out from Sea Crane?
I don't, but you know what? If he can, he will, because he loves to.
Yeah, he likes that stuff. Okay, we're going to come back with more with Dr. Mark Schultz as we talk about happiness, but first, this.
HealthyLooking.com and Dr. Alan Millay bring 4 decades of experience in natural products for the exclusive wellness kit that works with your body's stem cells to assist your immune system. Here's Dr. Millay with more.
Whether it's physical activity, obesity, diet, smoking, low on hormones, stress, sleep disorders, or your age can be supported by reducing inflammation, aiding the body to heal itself appropriately. A stem cell is a cell waiting to be told what it needs to be. If there is inflammation, it needs to be stopped. High blood pressure, high cholesterol, kidney disease, various types of cancer, depression, disease, autoimmune disorders, osteoporosis, even fever are chronic signs of inflammation and can be aided by supporting the body's ability to protect those cells that it needs. And that is the purpose of ImmuStem and AdaptoStem together, supporting the body to be the best it can be.
Dr. Millay, how will I feel after taking AdaptoStem and ImmuStem?
The ImmuStem is going to have an immediate effect, but I tell you, your immune system is starting to function better after 24 hours. You put AdaptoStem along with it, and most will feel it within 30 minutes.
Order now at HealthyLooking.com. The stem cell wellness kit from Dr. Millay protects your body's stem cells and will make you feel better faster. The stem cell wellness kit with AdaptoStem and ImmuStem and your free gift Relaxol is only available at HealthyLooking.com or toll free at 800-563-3980. That's 800-563-3980. Feel free to enter promo code George for free shipping. George's stem cell wellness kit at HealthyLooking.com. That's HealthyLooking.com.
Imagine you're in a row of people. Statistically, one of you is a victim of identity theft. That's right, 1 in 5. And these aren't careless people either. They're probably a lot like you, watching their accounts and credit. But that isn't always enough, especially with your personal info in more places than ever. It can be dangerously easy to steal your identity. LifeLock by North makes it easy to help protect yourself by monitoring your identity and alerting you to threats you could miss on your own. If you become a victim of identity theft, a U.S.-based LifeLock restoration specialist will be dedicated to your case and work to fix it. Now, no one can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions at all business, but everyone can save up to 25% off the first year. Call 1-800-LifeLock or go to lifelock.com and use promo code George. That's promo code George to save up to 25% off your first year or 1-800-LifeLock. Marvelous Entertainment and author Marvin Summerlin have released the newest in action-adventure science fiction that specifically deals with the question, are we alone in the universe? This action-packed drama includes a 7-novel masterpiece, comic books, video games, and movies of Sergeant Waggon's journeys across the universe. Get 20% off the entire 7-novel series and all future graphic novels. Enter coupon code Coast to Coast, all lowercase on Marvelous.com. That's MARVALEOUS.com.
Tired of expensive vet bills? Temporary prescriptions still leaving your pet itchy with a dull coat or fur loss? It all starts with their food. Add Dinovite to supplement the nutrients they're missing to support a healthy digestive tract, skin and coat, and immune system for an all-around healthier pet. Get a free probiotics booster with your purchase of Dinovite for dogs by using code DOG at Dinovite.com.
happier, healthier with every bite. Over 1 million pets helped with Dino Bites. Power Talk, first mornings and afternoons on Power Talk.
Yeah, welcome back. Dr. Mark Schultz with us, George Story here. Doctor, let's say people are moving along, they're happy, life is good, all of a sudden tragedy hits, grief hits, somebody dies in the family. How do you cope with that?
Yeah, so the first part is sort of recognizing that these kinds of challenges, even serious challenges like the ones you mentioned, are really part of life. We're going to live a long way together and these kinds of major stressors in our life. I think sort of taking a step back and thinking about what the challenges you face are, you can break them down into small pieces is something that is often helpful for people. And making sure that people use the connections that they have with others in a number of ways to help them through the challenge. So people often call us out if we're not thinking about something in a way that might be most helpful or clear. We may be missing important aspects of the challenge or not understanding it completely because we're not taking into account efforts used. People also are able to comfort us and help us deal with challenging emotions that arise when there's a loss or a challenge of that sort. Really important to take advantage of that comfort that we experience when we're with others. And then I think, beginning to lay out a plan about what your priorities are moving forward, how this major event may have had an impact on the kinds of things that are important to your everyday life, your priorities that you spend your most energy on, whether it's work or your family or activities that are important to you. How is this event likely to challenge those day-to-day activities? What can you do to preserve the activities that are critical to you, the purposes that get you up in the morning, and begin to plot a path forward. And it's important that the path forward won't completely linear, and it'll have ups and downs. When it comes to grief, certainly that we experience grief at times that are sometimes hard to predict, and it takes a while to get through those kinds of challenges. But in addition to knowing that it's normal to experience these challenges that are important, the kind of challenging feelings that arise in our context are also quite small and can be a healthy part of that kind of grieving and moving forward process.
We hear a lot of cases of people who commit mass shootings and then they kill themselves. They're obviously not happy people. But why do they have to take other people out before they kill themselves?
Yeah, I mean, that's something that, again, our own research is different light on because we choose not to have those events and the sample of the business that we have. I certainly thought about that as a human being, about what that's about, and I think when people are that desperate to be motivated to do an act like that, there certainly has to be a sense of guilt or shame or relief on a recognition of the kind of heinous nature of the act that I imagine is quite difficult at the moment, at least, to deal with. So that might be part of what happens, but that's an area of research that I don't follow closely, and I think if we had solved it, if we figured it out, we might prevent some of these events and the subsequent, people taking their lives as well. But I think it's something that still happens relatively rarely. These are events that have happened with unusual frequency in the state. It's appropriate to be concerned about, but it's hard, I think, for researchers to draw patterns when the events are relatively infrequent.
Money doesn't necessarily make people happy, does it?
Well, I think some money does, right? If we're thinking about the things that money affords us, access to health care, access to good housing, safety, a certain amount of control over life. So a certain amount of income, and that's probably about the average salary for a family in the United States these days, might be associated with small increases in happiness and satisfaction with life. Sort of take care of the necessities, you have that basic sense of security and access to food and health care. The research suggests happiness doesn't really rise in any significant way with increases in income. So it buys you some happiness at lower levels in terms of surviving and having reasonable security in life. But at higher levels, it doesn't seem to that they're very wealthy people that are very unhappy.
They sure are. And is there a formula for happiness, in your opinion?
I think the formula is about cultivating close connections with others, taking advantage of those relationships to feel a sense of connection with others, feel a sense of being alive. And relationships are often where we feel our strongest sense of being alive. People can experience it also out in nature. Sometimes they can experience it with pets, but it's relationships with others that we often experience a greatest sense of connection to things that are larger than ourselves, and also a sense of our basic needs. This idea of social fitness, about leaning in and cultivating relationships, spending time on making them work, identifying people in your life that enliven you, that enrich your life, figuring out how to spend more time with them, to prioritize that in our busy lives, and a life that's built with distractions from screens and other things of social media. We need to lean into those connections and cultivate them, continue to help them grow, and to prioritize them.
If you're happy, do you generally live a longer life?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think there is some evidence that being happy is connected with a longer life, and the opposite part, sort of experiencing lots of negative emotions, experiencing stress, probably shortens our life in important ways. It's certainly linked to the kinds of things that we know are not good for our health, inflammation in our body. It dampens our immune response. There's more and more research that suggests our state of mind is connected to our physical well-being, and our emotions, including happiness, are probably a very important pathway that helps with that connection.
What is the WISER model of emotional challenge? WISER.
Yeah, so the WISER model is something that we talk about, particularly in the context of coping with relationship challenges. And I can go through the model, but the important idea here is that there's some challenges in your life. Maybe it's a relationship with a sibling that over the years has become contentious, and you always experience frustration with that sister that you haven't spent much time with, but you see at family events. And this is a strategy for slowing down what's challenging about those interactions. So the first step is the WISER model is the W for watching. It's paying attention to the things that are going on and that connection you might have with that sibling. What are you missing is particularly important to think about. Are there things that my sister is doing or I'm doing that I haven't been aware of, that if you take a step back, you might become more aware of? Your assumptions that you're making, haven't recognized that. Importantly, what's happening in your body as you're interacting with that sister. Interpret as the next stage in the eye, how we might notice that maybe my sibling did something that felt a little bit sarcastic and demeaning.
And Mark, I'm starting to lose you on the phone a little bit. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. Did she intentionally demean me? Was it unintentional? Was it a slight, maybe, criticizing? So our interpretation or perception of what's happening is also critical, and that's the interpret stage, and we can change our interpretation. Many of us do this naturally. We reinterpret a situation and make new sense of it, but we can also do this intentionally in relationships that we're stuck in.
How did you get involved in happiness?
I've been a psychologist for many issues with this, and this was really kind of figure out what the good life is for myself and figuring out the path forward. I'm also someone who really is interested in the experience of others. So the study, which I've been working on for years, but it's been going on for 85 years, was a kind of gold mine. 24 very detailed stories of people's lives, the hopes and dreams that they had when they began life on the cusp of adulthood, the way that life actually turned out, the ups and downs of the different paths that their life took. So that's how I got interested in this work as a psychologist and as someone who has been a part of this project for 2 decades now.
Somebody like Vladimir Putin, is he happy?
I don't know. That's a good question, and I'd have to, sit down and talk to them. In the study, we have the advantage of being able to, really sit with people and ask them questions, see how they respond. My guess is that there are certain things, particularly now that he's on, I don't think things have gone particularly well for him. But I don't know enough about his personal life and his personal experience to judge. It's hard to judge from the outside what people's experience is, right? We make all sorts of mistakes, try and read people's minds. Even people who are skilled at it over years of training, it's hard to do. So in our study, we ask people to describe their experiences. We ask them directly how happy they are. And we're not only looking at the content of what they say, yes, I'm happy, no, I'm not, but also how they say it as well. So we can do that. It's really hard to get a sense of what's going on in his head unless he tells us.
In terms of bottom line, Mark, who controls one's happiness? Do we do that or outside forces?
Well, I think there's a little bit of both, but there's plenty that's under our control. There's a well-known study that tries to estimate the influence on happiness. Suggests about half of happiness might be shaped by genes. Some people disagree, say it's a little bit less, a little bit more than that. But at least 50% that probably has to do, maybe a fifth of that 50% has to do with the circumstances that we live in. And the remaining 40% have to do with the actions, the things that we do on a daily basis. So our decisions about what we engage in our life, the choices that we make about our activities in our life, those are the things that drive our happiness in addition to the set of genes that we inherit.
Mark, tell us about the scientific portion of the study on happiness.
Yeah, so it's a study that has used a bunch of different scientific strategies over the years. They've included questionnaires when we were current state of sciences on the topics that we're interested in. We ask a bunch of questions that people fill out. They used to fill them out in person or fill them out by mail and come back to us. Now, of course, they fill them out online. There are regular interviews of all the participants on Zoom. We've interviewed the participants. Very close observations. I think I already suggested that we went to the homes of the participants in the 1930s, looked at the nature of their homes, the neighborhoods they lived in, the relationships with their parents. And we continue to do things like that with their, for example, interactions with their partners, videotape, and carefully examine them later on. And more recently, of course, we've adopted modern techniques like brain scans and the use of EEGs to look at brain activity. We take blood to look at markers of immune functioning and inflammation. Participants into the laboratory, and we give them challenges, including stressful challenges, to see how they navigate that. Collecting physiology information, for example, about their heart rate. And we also collect information as they do that about how they're feeling. And we're interested in how quickly, after a stressor, how quickly they can return to a kind of state of equilibrium or a more positive state after the stressor.
What fascinates me, Mark, it's kind of strange, but laughter. What is it about laughter that makes the human body make that kind of sound when it thinks something's funny?
Yeah. Well, I've been accused of having a particularly strange laugh, so I love that question. Laughter is a really important experience for us. So experience of joy and finding either kind of irony or something fun. And it's such an important experience for our body. It allows us to release stress. It's clear that it's helpful and when people are aroused, stressful, that a sense of humor, experience of joy or laughter can really help increase that energy and the arousal, physical arousal that people are experiencing. The different kinds of ways that people will laugh, partly cultural, partly it's unique to our own sort of identity. So my wife likes to say that she and I worked near each other for a while, and she actually got interested in me because she heard this strange laugh down the hallway, and that's what drew her to find out more about who had that laugh. So our laugh is something that who we are, and but it's also important to our well-being for sure.
It is. It is a strange thing, though, isn't it?
Well, strange in what way you think you do it?
Well, you have 10 people laughing. They'd all have a different laugh.
They do. So it's like a bar, right? And there's so much about us when it comes to psychology that we do have our own signature. They're commonality. So